Hi there, my name is Sonia Rogers, and you are watching Blacksmith TV. Stay tuned.
Blessings to the family and peace to the tribe. This is your Apostle Bongani Blacksmith. I hope you guys are still good. I'm back with another video. On this video, I want us to talk about dream interpretation. Dream interpretation is one of the subjects I constantly get questions about. So seems like a lot of you're just dealing with dreams in your life and you're trying to understand what is the meaning of your dreams. So I want us to just go through the book of Daniel chapter 2. I would maybe half the chapter. We're going to read several verses. So I hope when you do get to watch this video, you're not in a hurry, you're sitting down, you have your Bible with you so that you can go with me as we look into this chapter, right? Because
Hello, my name is Sadara Bowie, and you are watching the Blacksmith TV. Please stay tuned.
Chapter, right? Because one of the things that concerns me, that the Lord showed me, which is a deception. This is a deception the Lord showed me from the enemy that has against the prophetic movement, is that a lot of prophetic people, they are adopting psychological ways of interpreting dreams and some new age teachings into dream interpretation. So I'm going to address that very strongly on this particular session on dream interpretation, right? It's very important for you to always remember that we are not psychoanalysts. Analysts. We are not trying to get some messages from the subconscious mind and trying to use a system of symbols to figure out what that means. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching you something very biblical, right? So I want you to stay tuned. So God bless you once more. Let's get into it. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. I think one of the first things that I must say concerning dream interpretation, and we find this in the life of Joseph, when Pharaoh had a dream, and Joseph was able to interpret Pharaoh's dream. Joseph said, this is something I want you to remember, the interpretations of dreams belong to the Lord. He didn't say the interpretation of dreams belongs to a book that has a system of symbols of interpretation. So one thing that I love about the Old Testament saints or biblical saints, people who lived in biblical times, is that they knew that if they have received a certain revelation from the Lord, they still need to seek the Lord for interpretation. But this internet generation, when they receive a revelation from the Lord, they turn to the internet. Or this lazy generation, when they receive a dream from the Lord, they turn to their leaders. They don't turn to the Lord. And I've taught this, and I'm going to say it again. A dream is an interpretation. A dream, rather, it is an invite for you to seek the Lord. You see, that's why God sometimes loves speaking to you in parables, in riddles, in dark sayings. This is why God sent enigmas. Why? Because God is trying to invite you to seek Him. So in the prophetic, this is a mistake that a lot of prophetic people they're making. It's a mistake when when you have a dream, you run to the internet to try to find what that means, right? So that's why you will never grow in your you'll never grow in your gift to interpret dreams. You'll never grow in your ability to be able to interpret dreams. Why? Because anytime you are getting a dream, instead of seriously seeking the face of the Lord concerning that dream, you are seeking out resources, you're seeking out leaders that can help you interpret your dreams. And by the way, I'm not in any way laying an assault on books or on spiritual leadership. I'm an advocate myself of spiritual leadership, good reading, good books. I'm an advocate of that. But I'm saying this generation has placed dependency on in other words, the things that you're supposed to be seeking the Lord for. These days, you just go to a book, you just go to the internet, you're just looking for those stuff, right? So what happens is that you might get the information, and the information might be accurate in some cases, but then you received an information sometimes from a person who received that information directly from the Lord, and not because they are more gifted than you, not because they're more special than you, but because they were disciplined enough to seek the face of the Lord concerning their questions in regards to divine disclosure, divine revelation. Are you getting it? So I want you to, if you want to grow in the prophetic, if you're a prophet, you're a seer, you're a dreamer, you're watching me right now, if you want to grow in the prophetic, I want you to stop this thing of running to people or to the internet when you have a dream from God. If you have a dream from God, it's an invitation for you to seek God. So Joseph says the interpretations of dreams belongs to the Lord. Are you getting it? So I want you to get that. In fact, it's even safe to say it's not even so much of a gift to interpret dreams, right? It's a gift in one sense. It's a gift in a sense that it's a divine ability that you can receive from the Lord. But it's not a gift in a sense that it's not like it's something that stays with you, and anytime you get a dream, you can just be. Just check seasoned prophets like Daniel in the Bible. We're going to be reading him right now. When he is challenged with a dream, he asks for time to go and seek the face of the Lord. He doesn't say, no, I have a gift of this stuff, so I can just tell you what this thing means. Right? So the problem is that we are trying to pin down the things of the Lord to a science. And once you try to pin down the things of the Lord down to a science, that's where you're going to start having real issues. So you can, and here's the issue, the reason why the enemy does this also is because he knows that if you don't understand what's the primary purpose of dreams, he can then disconnect you from God. He can then sabotage your fellowship with the Lord. He can then sabotage your relationship with God, because that's what dreams do. Like a dream is God starting a dialogue. It's trying to start a dialogue with you. And in the process, of course, there's going to be certain important information that you're going to receive from the Lord through that dream. That can help you today to tomorrow, and that can help you even understand your life presently. Right? But dreams help us. They create an opportunity for us to engage the Lord. They create an opportunity for us to prepare our hearts so that we can seek the face of the Lord. Are you getting it? So there's so many people now who are all out on the internet trying to find books that have systems of symbols of interpretation, because when they have a dream, they want to be able to rush to the book and check, oh, what does it mean? Right? But the problem with that is that one thing can mean so many things depending on the context. So, they're all saying context is king. So the fact that you, let's say, for example, you dreamt your mother, right? Or it doesn't necessarily mean you are seeing your mother. Because some dreams, for example, they are symbolic. Your mom could be symbolizing something in your life, right? I've used the example many times of a serpent. The fact that you see a snake, it doesn't always signify the presence of the enemy, because a serpent also speaks of wisdom. Also, a serpent speaks of healing as well. So you see, you can't now just take one symbol and think, or rather have a symbol, a system of symbols, and be like, if you have a dream, you just go, you constantly refer to that book. It's not going to work. Okay,
Shalom, shalom, everyone. My name is Mora, and you are watching Blacksmith TV. Get your pen and your paper ready. See you on the other side of your transformation.
again, like I said, I've already said, I'm not attacking books and you turning to spiritual leaders for help. But I'm saying this, it's not a science. Number one, that's what I'm saying. Dream interpretation, it's not a science. You can't pin it down to a science that we have a system of symbols. So when we have a dream, we can just turn to those system of symbols, and then we can find the interpretation of the dream. It doesn't work that way. So for a believer, you're not a new ager. There are a lot of spiritual movements now that have nothing to do with God or Christ, right? Counterfeit spiritual movements. They also believe in dreams. They also do dream interpretation. And mostly you find them, right? They produce a lot of materials, and a lot of Christians are actually borrowing from those books and forgetting that we are not new ages. We believers in Christ, right? And God has ordinances, and one of those ordinances is that we seek God for revelation. That we receive the Holy Spirit is our source of revelation. Are you getting it? So it's very important for you to always and constantly remember that. So let's read the book of Daniel, because I said we're gonna read that. So remember, that's the first thing I want you to remember, is that the interpretation of dreams belongs to the Lord. This is the principle we gleaned from the life of Joseph. So in other words, if you're looking for an interpretation of your dreams, you should set your heart to seek the Lord for interpretation. Not necessarily turning to books and the internet and asking Google, what does your dream mean? What does it mean when I dream this? Which is the things believers do. And it's equivalent to practicing divination. Because you are trying to get the revelation. You're trying to access the revelation by other means other than the Spirit of God. You're not accessing things through the Spirit of the Lord. So you can be a Christian and practice divination without knowing, because you might be ignorant of some of the things. So let's read, by the way. Let's read Daniel chapter 2. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Verse 2. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the charlatans for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. So kings of old were oftentimes they were followed by dreams, enigmas, parables. Like they were always troubled by messages from the gods. So they always had magicians and astrologers, sorcerers. They always had people that they believed were able to see in the realms of the spirit, and they were able to operate in the realms of the spirit, and they were able to do things in the realms of the spirit. So kings of old surrounded themselves with such people. I mean, even in Israel, the kings of Israel, they had prophets serving. Like there's certain prophet, like Nathan was a prophet serving David, right? And there are other many prophets like that, like Samuel once was serving Saul at some point. So if you read the Bible, and I don't want to talk about that, but mostly God knows how to balance power, because if the king was just the absolute power, even in Bible times, this is why we have dictators and tyrants in the past. If someone has absolute power, they are more likely to abuse that power. So God will balance the king with the prophet, because then they are both supposed to be accountable to God, but then they can keep each other in check. So it's like, think about when David took Uriah's wife. The prophet comes and says, "What have you done?" Right? Or Saul, when he disobeyed the Lord, the prophet comes and confronts him. So I don't want to talk about that dynamic, and remember, the kingly ministry in the Old Testament was prophetic. It speaks of the apostolic ministry, passus de govern. So that is to say, the apostolic and the prophetic, they need each other. But like I said, that's a subject for another day. So, but even pagan kings, they had the same system. The king will surround himself with magicians, with the exception that the pagan kings, they had power over the sorcerers and the magicians and necromancers if they wanted to kill them. Like in this case, Nebuchadnezzar is like threatening to kill them. Right? Let's continue reading. Verse 3. And the king said unto them, I have dreamt a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know to know the dream. So the king is essentially saying, I had a dream, it was a troubling dream, but I forgot the dream. Right? It says he was troubled to know the dream, not to know the interpretation of the dreams. And I'm reading from the King James translation, which is the translation I trust, because they maintain some integrity when they translated the Bible. So he says, verse 3, the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Do you see that? Not to know the meaning of the dream, but to know the dream. Let's continue. Then speak the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we shall show thee the interpretation. So the guys, they're like, oh, just tell us that dream. Just tell us the dream, and we will interpret the dream for you. Right? And then, verse 5, the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me, so I forgot. Remember the book of Proverbs, the Bible says a dream is fleeting. A dream is running away. So you notice this thing that when you wake up with a dream, that's why it's important to have a dream journal. When you wake up with a dream, the more you go into your day, the more of that dream you forget. That's why there's so many dreams that you have had in the past that you don't remember, because dreams leave you. So the king says, the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. So the king is like, I forgot my dream, and if you don't tell my dream and tell me the interpretation of my dream, I am going to cut you into pieces, and I'm going to kill your families as well. Can you imagine? This is a threat. These guys here, they are in trouble, right? So the king wants them to tell him what is it that he dreamt. And number two, he wants them to tell them what does it mean. Now, is there a book where we have a system of symbols that can help you to know what the other person dreamt? There is no way you can use a book for you to know what the other person dreamt. You need the gift of revelation. And the same gift of revelation that you can use to know what the other person dreamt is the same gift of revelation that you use to get interpretation of dreams. So biblical saints never depended on a system of symbols on how to interpret their dreams. They constantly depended on the Godhead, on the divine. They depended on God. They depended on divine revelation. Are you following? So that's one thing that you have to be careful of. If you want to grow, and this is especially this is important for those of you want to grow in your ability to receive divine revelation from God. This is important. This is an error that you must be able to correct. Okay? Now let's continue reading. So the king answered, okay, we read that. Verse 6, but if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. So the king is not only threatening them, he says, but if you are able to tell me my dream and the interpretation thereof, I'm willing to reward you guys. There's going to be great benefits if you are able to tell me my dream and in the interpretation thereof. Verse 7, they answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. You see, this is one of the challenges of someone who interprets dreams. An interpreter of dreams must have the ability to know what people dreamt, even if they didn't tell him the dream. That's one of the key. I think this is one of the tests whether someone, even their interpretation of dreams is accurate. Do they have the ability to receive information from the Spirit? Because for a person to interpret dreams, they must have the gift of revelation, and that means they must have the ability to receive information from the Spirit, right? But if a person claims that they can interpret the dreams, but somehow they don't know how to receive information from the Spirit, how can you trust the interpretation of that dream? Right? So this is why it's interesting that some people think they can interpret dreams, but they can't even prophesy. So if you can't prophesy, if you can't receive information from God, then where are you getting your information or when that you use to interpret your dreams? This is where the error comes in, the deception the Lord showed me coming from the enemy. This is where people turn to a system of symbols. And some of the system of symbols, they were not even established by godly men and godly women. They were established by some new ages. They were established by psychologists. Some, they're just purely natural and carnal. There is no prophetic element to them. I hope someone is listening to what I'm saying, because this is a very important session I'm having with you. Okay, where was I? Who was I? Verse 7. Let's go to verse 8. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that you would gain the time, because you see the thing is gone from me. So he says, so you're trying to trick me, because I'm telling you this thing is gone from me. Right? Verse 9. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation. I love this. So the king is like, guys, if I tell you the dream, you guys gonna fabricate. You're gonna come with corrupt words, smart words. You're gonna put together a system of symbols, and then you're gonna tell me that this is the interpretation. So the king is like, I think Nebuchadnezzar was very wise in this thing. He says to them, for me to trust your interpretation, how about you tell me my dream? Because if you are able to tell me my dream, then I'm going to know that the interpretation of your dream is also accurate. That's why when Daniel later on tells the king his dream, he's in the dream and the interpretation. The king doesn't have any trouble believing the interpretation of Daniel of his dream, because Daniel was able to tell me his dream in the first place. I hope someone is seeing that. Right? So he says, therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. If you tell me the dream, then I will know that you are able also to give me the interpretation. So that's why I am saying, and when he says to them, tell me the dream, is a test, right? Of like, are you able to move in words of knowledge? Are you able to move in revelation knowledge? Are you able to receive from the spirit dimension? So how many people believe themselves to be accurate dream interpreters, but they are not prophetic? They are not able to prophesy, because being prophetic means accessing the voice of the Lord. That's what being prophetic is about. It's being able to access the voice of God. So if someone can access the voice of the Lord, how can they be able to interpret dreams? How can they be able, because again, remember, here's what the error I'm correcting. It's not a science to interpret dreams. It's not a science. Some of you are running with wrong interpretations, dream interpretations, because you have been trying to use a system of symbols, or in consulting the internet. You understand? Because you don't want to look. You don't want to. You okay. Maybe I should just close this. If you want to grow, you must not be lazy spiritually. You must be disciplined. You must be focused. You must be patient. You must be willing to put in the work, seeking the face of the Lord, waiting before the face of the Lord. But if you just receive revelation today, you just can't wait, you want the interpretation now, so you turn to the internet and stuff, you are going to have a lot of wrong meanings of your dreams, because you just can't wait. You just can't wait. Are you getting it? So I'm teaching you something very important, and we're just gleaning from the book of Daniel chapter 2. Okay, let's go to verse 10. So the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. So it shows you that these guys, they didn't really have the dream of the gift of revelation, because they are saying what you are asking of, it's not possible. There is no person on the face of the earth that can be able to grant your wish. Right? Therefore there is no Lord, there is no king, no Lord, no ruler that asks such things at any magicians or astrologer or Chaldean. So they're like, dude, you're the first one to make this request. Other kings have never requested such a thing, because it can't be done. Right? And verse 11, it is a rare thing that the king required, and there is none other than there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods whose dwelling is not with the flesh. So they only believe that only the gods can have such secret knowledge, right? But we know from our God that God's people can do that. Elisha, you remember, he used to reveal the secrets of a certain king, the plots of a certain pagan king who was planning against the king of Israel. And the king and Elisha kept on sending messages and telling the king, this is going to happen. Until the pagan king felt like there was a traitor in his company. And they told him, said, there is no traitor here. There is a guy called Elisha. He knows, he hears what you are saying in his bedroom as if he is with you. But these guys, they're saying it cannot be done. But we know in Judah it has been happening, in Israel it has been happening, among God's people it has been happening. So that's why you must not, that's why it's dangerous for you to follow New Age teachings. Sometimes you hear Christians talking about the third eye. What is the third eye? That's New Age teaching. So you hear believers coming with all these weird concepts that come with these false counterfeit spiritual movements that do not acknowledge God or Christ, or He is Christ. So you have to be careful. This is a deception, and it's infiltrating the prophetic movement. So you have to be careful. If you're serious about dream interpretation, you must be willing to seek the face of the Lord. Okay, so verse 12. For this cause the king was angry and very furious and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. Right? And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Verse 16. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time. This is the guy who understands how interpretation works. He's not like, oh king, don't worry. I have got it. I have a system of symbols. I can tell you what it means. He's not even asking the king, what is your dream? He says, just give me time. What for? To seek the face of the Lord. So you don't even make the time after dreaming. You already run to the internet. You don't make the time after dreaming. You're already consulting a dream dictionary. You understand? And you are not going to grow that way. You're not going to be prophetic that way. And remember, being prophetic means accessing the voice of the Lord. Okay, let's continue. I'll give him time, and he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went into his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the Lord. So Daniel is talking to his two of his friends. He says, guys, we're in trouble. We need to seek God. We need the mercy of God. God needs to reveal what this guy dreamt, or we are dead. So I love these guys. These are guys who knew how to fetch stuff from the Spirit, who knew how to hear from the Lord, who knew how to receive revelation from the Lord. Right? That they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. So they're like, God, just reveal the secret to us. What did this guy dream? What did the king dream? We don't want to die with the New Ages. We don't want to die with the fake prophetic movement. Just who are they seeking? The Lord. Verse 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. You see, he received it through a vision, the vision of the night. So, do you know that you can dream and then you can seek the Lord for a dream, the interpretation of your dream. And the following night, you can have another dream, which is an interpretation of the dream from last night. How nice that would be. Not consulting Google, not consulting a book, But actually, the same God who's speaking to you through a dream, imagine him sending another dream as an interpretation for the first dream. But you are not going to taste such dimensions as long as you don't you love this culture of dependence. You love this. You are trying to pin down dream interpretation to a science, right? You're not going to get there. So it was revealed to him. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven, because God had revealed it unto him. And Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changed the times and the seasons. He removed kings and set up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealed the deep and secret things. Do you see? God reveals deep and secret things. So again, Joseph confirms it. The interpretation of dreams belong to the Lord. So deep and secret things belongs to who? To God. So we seek the Lord for interpretation. We seek for the Lord for revelation. Right? He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desired of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. I think I'm going to stop here. Of course, there are guidelines. There are some guidelines to dream interpretation that we need to talk about. But this is the first thing you need to know. Right? There is no science, but there are guidelines. See, a guideline is not a rule. It's just a guideline. So there are certain guidelines to dream interpretation that I can give to you that can aid you in your dream interpretation. But the problem is that we want to turn that into a system. We want to turn that into a science, into something that we can use every time and every day. Okay? So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this blessed you. And I believe to do a part 2 of this video on dream interpretation, wherein I will talk about the guidelines to dream interpretation. But I want you to first establish this. Teach yourself how to seek the Lord first for your divine revelations. Whether in a visions, whether it came in a dreams, teach yourself to seek the Lord for revelation. Don't just run around already looking for interpretation and ignoring the person who gave you the revelation, who is God in this context. Are you getting it? So God bless everybody, and all the new subscribers. Again, welcome to the Blacksmith community. Welcome to the tribe. I hope you are getting something. And if you're watching me now, you have not subscribed, smash that subscribe button and become part of our tribe, become part of our community. And I'm going to be seeing you on the next video. I'm signing out.